Little bit late getting this video out here tonight, but we have to talk ahead of tomorrow. Very important day. We're going to talk about some big updates coming to the XRP Ledger. Now, it's being framed as, hey, we're just discussing stuff. You'll see as we work through this, this isn't just ramblings or spitballing. Like, this is going down. So we'll cover what that is. We have Bloomberg saying, Bitcoin, is it really a hedge? Is it even a good investment? It gives us some metrics, some numbers. We're going to break into it. And lastly, we're going to talk about, why is tomorrow such a big day? What are we looking for? What is the big event? So there's really only one way to do it, and that's just to do it. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, we have Jay here, a lead developer with RippleX, and he says the following: XRP has always been about moving value very quickly and efficiently. Over the years, it's gone from powering payments to helping settle tokenized assets, enabling real-time liquidity across different markets. So its core use case is growing, it's changing, it's evolving. And now with the first XRP spot ETF with Canary and more coming in short order, it's clear the ecosystem is stepping into a new phase, especially as institutions start adopting products like tokenized treasuries and MMFs. And so what he says here is all of this got me, Jay, and David Schwartz thinking, what if we support native staking on the XRP Ledger one day? What would that look like? Now, it doesn't go really what this would look like from a technical standpoint. What would it really accomplish? They're kind of just throwing it out there. And he goes on to say, for staking to be possible, we need a source of staking rewards. So are we going to start inflating the supply of XRP? Where's this going to come from? And a way to distribute them fairly. And I would further say, well, what's the technical reason for this? I think staking rewards are going to be very popular, specifically with institutional investors getting a dividend in those ETFs, things like that. It could be used for validators to earn and be rewarded for their hard work. There's a lot of good reasons to do this, but before I really comment on, is this a good idea, a bad idea, is this going to add value, I would have to know a lot more than they're telling us here. But when we see, is Jay just kind of sharing his thoughts? Are they just spitballing here? You best believe they ain't, because David Schwartz goes on to say, chiming in, XRP Ledger was created in 2012. The world of blockchain has changed many times over since then. My own thoughts on governance and consensus models have evolved. So they're looking to do a change here. David's kind of setting it up. I've been mulling over how XRP is used in DeFi, both organically in apps and protocols like Flare, more markets, Axelar, Doppler, etc., and natively on chain. With programmability initiatives and smart contracts discussions underway, it seemed like a good time for us also to discuss what other DeFi capabilities natively could look like. David's jumping in here, setting the stage. Again, this isn't just sharing some thoughts or ramblings. Like, this is in action. It's going to happen. You best believe it. Beyond that, we see Mayuka, of course, big developer over at Ripple, saying, hey, jumping in here, take a look at these. This is a serious proposal. Brad Garlinghouse jumping up with new DeFi protocols and apps emerging for XRP. What other possibilities for the network should be discussed? Ripple engineer leader Jay tackles this issue and questions that need to be considered from the outset. So they're kind of setting the stage here, putting over the things we got to discuss, but this isn't just some random thoughts. Like, this is going to happen. And again, I would have to know technically, what is the purpose of this? Is it just to have staking rewards? If that's the case, then no, it's an awful idea. But, if it adds utility to this network, if it makes the network more decentralized, if it helps, validators to earn funds back because it's very expensive, especially for full nodes and things like that, like people to build out this infrastructure, then it kind of makes some sense. And so we'll have to see as we get more, more info on this specifics. But right now, they're just kind of putting it out there. These are the issues we got to talk about. And know this XRP Ledger is going to change drastically. And it already has started with AMMs, stablecoins really being supported. We've had that capability, but we haven't had them in the past. You're just seeing all sorts of stuff here. Smart contracts coming both natively and the EVM sidechain. So this chain is evolving in a big way. We see Crippen Reuter here saying, I think there are essentially 4 big topics that need to be addressed and discussed from time to time. Financial incentives for block production. So again, that's how do we take care of those people running this network? Should they just do it for free because they're good people, or do they need to be able to earn? Fees being burned and distributed or distributed. how to decentralize the current consensus even more. So, are they thinking about going in here and changing the actual consensus algorithm? Didn't sound like they're talking about changing to a proof of stake protocol, but are they? Are they looking to really do something foundationally here? Fully fledged smart contracts, yay or nay? I mean, that's always up for discussion in the XRP Ledger. And how will we manage full history nodes in the future as the ledger continues to grow? And that could be problematic because I don't know the specifics, but right now these are very large, these full history nodes, and they'll only get larger when you look at the cost of running one of those, and only a few people do. What do we do with that? And I know, I believe with Ethereum, they purged some of the old stuff, say, you don't need that anymore. Like, is that a way we want to go? Is it kind of important to have the full history, but also there's the cost of that? I don't know. These are things we're going to have to discuss as we go forward. But, what I actually promote and have promoted for a long time, you saw what Ethereum did, a ground up rebuild. It kind of, to me, seems like it gets messy over time. You just keep stacking on random features and capabilities. Like, what do you kind of end up with? So what I would hope for is, from everything they've learned and everything that's great about the XRP ledger and things that work with other blockchains, I would say do a long-term rebuild here, and you could do something like you saw with Ethereum 2.0. It's software. It doesn't need to stay foundationally the same. Like, you could do a big upgrade here. Ripple has the money, and they could make this happen. I don't think that's the direction they go, but that's what I would really get behind, of just do it right, from the very beginning, and build this thing out for scale for the long term. To me, that's better than just kind of cobbling things together as you go forward. I think it's time. I mean, it's been around forever here. We'll see, though. We'll see what they propose. It's going to be interesting for sure. Now, Franklin Templeton XRP ETF is poised to make a big statement. From what I've heard, it's been delayed to the 24th. It was supposed to come out today. But analysts are projecting to understand how much bigger this is than what we saw from Canary. Analysts are projecting that the Franklin Templeton ETF could see 150 to 250 million in day one volume. So think of that. The Solana ETF was about 57 million in day one volume. This could be much, much larger. As much as 5x the massive debut of Canary XRP ETF, which Canary was the biggest ETF of 2025. Not just crypto. It was the biggest ETF of 2025, and this could be 5x bigger. So this makes a difference here. And remember, Franklin's just one. We got Grayscale. We got quite a few on deck here. Bitwise, like, there's some big ones, and Bitwise has those connections to family offices, things like that. So, we're going to see an evolving investor class here for XRP. And we see Franklin manages $1.5 trillion. So this is a massive person putting this ETF up. And they know if they're going to run this out there, that there's demand there already. That's what's important. And they have direct access to pensions, banks, RIAs, wealth managers, institutions. So that's kind of the type of people that will be leveraging this ETF. EZRP, which is the name of their ETF, reaches investors who would never touch a crypto exchange. So this is going to be truly new money. People that aren't already investing on Coinbase that want to put a little extra, in their brokerage account. No, these are people with a lot of money, a lot of investment capital, and until now, they ain't buying XRP. This is bringing truly new investors to the table, which could make a huge difference. Now, we had this write-up by Forbes. I have the highlights here, but they call it the Great Bitcoin Crash of 2025. Interesting numbers here. You do have to remember, though, we're looking from January 1st to now, but if you go back a little bit more pre-election, it's still, Bitcoin's doing quite well. So you have to kind of understand that. But Bitcoin is now down 30% from the peak of 2025, lagging behind gold, bonds, T-bills, NASDAQ, even utilities. So, at least year to date, this ain't great. And it's not been great for crypto either after this big sell-off here. The asset once pitched as high growth, inflation hedge, diversifier. Well, it's failed to deliver on everything across the board this year to date to now. Bitcoin even slipped below 90,000 at one point, putting the typical ETF buyer underwater. That's the first time that's been the case in quite a while. Everyone was in profits. Profits everywhere. Well, not right now here. We had that violent October 10th wipeout, erasing $19 billion in leverage, and it's gotten worse. We're down even lower than that. Crypto isn't trading like a hedge. It's trading like a levered bet on macro tightening. So part of this has been the Fed is talking hawkishly, and in my mind, it's because they can't do anything that's hawkish, so they have to jibber jabber to try to scare things into tightening up a bit. that will only last for a while. They're going to be bringing rates down lower and loosening financial conditions even more important. Even long-term believers are reassessing its role in diversified portfolios. So that's how a lot of people say, well, look, it hedges against this and that. It's not looking like that right now. ETF outflows continue as traders position defensively around 85,000 to 80. Still, Bitcoin sits far above pre-election levels. So that's important. When you zoom out a little bit, still doing pretty darn good. And history is filled with brutal crashes followed by speculative recoveries. So we can assume that things are going to turn to the better here at some point. If 90,000 holds, Bitcoin may shift from being a source of stress to the signal of stabilization. So hopefully we turn around here. Crypto in general, we go on the big run we've all been waiting for. Of course, altcoins have been shut out to date. And hopefully we see that big run again that we've been preparing towards, and we should see because crypto keeps getting better day in, day out. This is what I think we're looking for tomorrow. This is why it's a big deal. Inverse Kramer here says, not to be over dramatic, but if NVIDIA misses earnings tomorrow, we're going extinct. This is a deal. NVIDIA is not going to miss earnings. Every card they make has already been sold a long time ago. They're going to hit earnings. It's about the guidance. And right now, people are worried about the AI sector, which fuels everything. It fuels the stock market, crypto, everything. And people are getting scared. And they saw SoftBank sell $5.8 billion worth of NVIDIA stock. We had Peter Thiel cash out all of his NVIDIA stock. And just people are getting worried about the circular financing and maybe we're spending too much and the technology is not here yet. Someone was yelling at me the other day in the comments saying, you're an idiot. Warren Buffett just bought a bunch of Google and all these. Look, I understand. I'm not giving you my perspective per se, but I'm telling you what the market is doing. They're scared right now that we're in a bubble and it's getting ready to blow up. And so if Jensen gets out there and really with his guidance calms people, and lets them see the future and how important this technology is and what it's going to do in rapid succession, and that, no, we're not going to stop spending. It's just going to be more money and more money. If they get that from what he says as guidance tomorrow, I think you're going to see this whole space rebound from the AI sector in general, stocks, crypto. It's going to be back to off to the races. If you're going to have a CEO up there that's going to deliver this message, I think he's the guy to do it. But remember, again, CEOs, they're signing on the dotted line. They are personally and legally responsible for the things they say. So, if they're looking at this going, wow, we had these big contracts with OpenAI, but they don't got the money and don't look like they're going to get it, and Oracle, all this stuff. If he can't do it, he ain't going to do it. He ain't going to go to jail over this just to keep the rally going. But I think if the reality is there that spend continues strong and they're going to keep building and it's pedal to the metal, that's exactly what he will deliver, and we need that. If that happens tomorrow, I think a lot of this pain goes away and we'll be on the road to recovery. If not, though, if he scares everyone with the things he says tomorrow, which I don't think he will, but if he does, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty in stock, and it's going to get bad out there in the crypto space. We'll see it play out. Looking for a big earnings call there from NVIDIA. I think he'll give us the guidance we need, but we have to see it play out. By the time I get on here tomorrow, we'll know how it played out, and we'll see how the crypto market is responding, and I think that's a big catalyst for tomorrow. Seems like the crypto market's already recovering a bit, so maybe they know something we don't. Time will tell. We will know by tomorrow. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.